The following video has been created for educational entertainment purposes. Neither presenter is a medical professional, but they have applied the shared information to their own lives with measurable results. The speakers are engaged in a self-directed learning and living process that others may wish to pursue for themselves as they take control of their lives. It's a choice.
Welcome to Eat Fruits, where we're going to get together and discuss fruits, and maybe from a little bit different approach than maybe you've heard before or been pitched before or thought of before. And Tom's kind of brand new on this journey. I've been using fruits now. I've been eating it like pretty much raw for the last 14 months. It's helped me become sober. It's helped me to kick a lot of addictions, and it's helped my family kick a lot of addictions. So for the last 14 months, I've been researching this stuff. I've been eating it. I've been kind of like my own guinea pig. I had a torn meniscus that it healed. I had a tooth problem where remember my mouth was all swollen up that one
Oh,
time? Yeah, all
absolutely.
swollen up. That literally my whole mouth got so swollen up through fruits, the swelling went down, the tooth came out, it healed all that. I have disc problems that it's healed, just so many different things in my neck, my eyes, all kinds of my fingers, arthritis in my hands, and not to mention sobriety.
Yep.
A year of sobriety, 14 months of sobriety, waking up in the morning and not having, a hangover and just being excited and, getting up and being able to make breakfast and lunch for my wife before she goes to work. And so I've been doing this for a while. And one of the things when all this kind of first hit me, when I stopped eating or stopped drinking alcohol, I became thirsty right away. Very thirsty. And a type of thirst that just I couldn't go and get enough water. Water wouldn't take it away. Now, Tom is going to have to bear with us for a minute because he's not an alcoholic. I am the alcoholic guy, right?
I left it behind a handful of years ago.
So you might be able to, understand this a
Oh,
little bit.
I do understand, yes.
But it's funny. We're recording this literally like a block away. I think it's that way from a bar that I used to live right here. I used to sneak down there. I used to get hammered and walk home. I've had some bad nights there, you know. And now I have awesome days and awesome nights and awesome mornings. And so one of the things, if you drink a lot, you know that feeling of just being dehydrated. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night because they say that alcohol is supposed to make you fall asleep, right? You're supposed to use it and it's supposed to help you fall asleep. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I just had that thirst, and I couldn't, I would sweat it all out. I wouldn't sleep good. And when I stopped drinking, and I'll leave that story for another time, but when I stopped drinking, I immediately felt this need for fruit. And I went to the store. My uncle brought over a pineapple, and I'm like, oh, that right there, that quenched it. And I started just to eat a pineapple every day. Still do it. Every once in a while, I might not get the whole pineapple in, but I've learned that there's some powerful, powerful things in fruits that we're just not hearing about.
Right.
And I began to just discover more into it because it's more than just antioxidants. It's
Correct.
more than just a chemical compound. It's more than just like something fun that you eat when you go down to Florida, you get some oranges, or when the season's right, you go once or twice a season and you pick. It's more than that. I started to look into it from a whole different realm. Not on. I didn't go on. I didn't learn to go on YouTube or get some teacher to tell me all this. My something inside of me just had me start searching right away these things called terpenes.
Yep.
Terpenes. Now, if you're a pot smoker, you probably heard of terpenes. If you're not a pot smoker, you probably haven't heard of terpenes, which is really interesting because the terpenes that are in this are extremely powerful, and most people have never even heard what a terpene is. And if you have, you probably think it's just something that makes you more high or a
Mm,
different type of high. So Tom came on board he said he wanted to do the challenge, and Tom and I go back, you know, 10,
most
15 years in a different business model, a different business venture when we were just doing leadership development. And we both kind of like went our separate ways. And I went in. I was more in construction, and Tom went into he as a movie. Well, you tell us what you were.
I managed movie theaters for years, and here in the last 8 years, I've moved into the third shift world of factory work, which was nothing new to me, anyways. But yes, absolutely. And now the one thing I do know is Jason's not vilifying alcohol. Um,
Nope.
it's it's just an inanimate object. It's something that we use. It's a matter of how we use it or how much we use it. Tends to be the problem, and isn't that's the case with just about any addiction. But what he got turned on to was very important. The research on terpenes really only goes back within the last 5 years or so. It's a case. I think about the time that the discussion of legalizing marijuana really started to become prevalent. Then government labs and such were allowed to start really looking into all of the different aspects and effects. One of the cool things, and I am not a user in any way, shape, or form. I know plenty of people who are, many who use it medicinally. And what I've learned is there are about 150 different terpenes found in cannabis. Not necessarily all in the same strains, but um, there are plenty of different ones. But at the same time, there are many found out in general fruits and nature, trees and grasses and that sort of thing. Um, and the most common being myrcene. And that's actually the most common found in the actual cannabis itself. Um, and I had been working on some notes. I may have to bring some up if my computer will let me read without interrupting our recording. But myrcene, what commonly, basically, these terpenes, for the most part, at its simplest, is not much more than aromatherapy. It's what gives the different strains of cannabis, as well as many of these different fruits and plants, their distinct aromas. And it breaks down even deeper the types of essential oils that are produced in these fruits as well, especially the limonene, which cover the citrus fruits. The majority of the terpenes found in the citrus fruits are actually in the rinds, in the peel, because that's where most of the essential oil comes from with those. However, the rest of the fruit is packed with vitamin C, the one vitamin that would be virtually impossible for us to overdose on, even if we tried. But it's also
I
one that
try.
I appreciate that in you too, because it's
I'm doing lives. I'm doing some lives on YouTube and on TikTok, and I have to do like two different meals
right.
of just fruits. And then I go to bed and I wake up and I
Go-
lose weight.
Yep. That is one thing I found in the last 28 days is you don't necessarily wake up having lost weight, but you are feeling a little trimmed. You're not feeling that overnight bloat that say some of us that tend to partake of things that are too carbonated or too loaded with sodium before we go to bed. So you kind of wake up puffy-eyed and a bit dehydrated. Hitting the citrus fruit or a pineapple before bed wakes you up feeling like $1,000,000.
What about your pee now? Do you feel like it's dense?
Um,
Because when I pee, I feel like it's like dense, man.
it,
Just
with
dense.
those particular way, knowing enough about vitamin supplements and such, what you're doing, how they tell you if you're properly hydrated water wise that um, you're going to urinate a somewhat fairly clear stream, whereas what you've noticed if you're on supplements, the higher amount of vitamin C in your system, because your body can only absorb so much at any given time, anyways, and the rest will pass through, which is your defense from overdosing on anything that might be detrimental to you. Whereas if your intake on vitamin C is pretty high, yes, it's going to be a bit more dense. You're going to see that yellow coloration to it, maybe even a heavier coloration, because usually they say the heavier yellow towards brown is indications of dehydration. That's not the case when your intake of fruit is up. Whereas if your vitamin B intake is excessive, it tends to start turning that off green, almost neon green color, which is a little weird when you first experience
So
it.
so
But
Tom is the science guy, I guess.
I can
He's always been
I
that
can
kind of
geek out.
very detailed in that, and I am the guy that gets really excited about something and just don't really have a lot of language to it, but just know that it's really working well. Now, I'll tell you something about a couple tricks with the lemon. Get lemon, squeeze it in water, put it in a glass, and put it in sunlight for at least an hour. And Michigan's kind of depressing right now because
Right
we don't get a
now.
lot of sun. But in the summertime, if you come to my house, you're gonna see glasses of water in my yard. You know,
Yep.
because you want to get that structured water, but the thing that you're trying to get, and this is where a lot of people are missing it, and this is where I want to help people understand. And if you go on TikToks, and you can watch some more TikToks, I've been doing like 3 of them a day,
Oh yeah.
and because I like it for one, and I want to explain to people that these terpenes are not just in marijuana,
Oh no.
that they're not just in cannabis. We're not against those things, and we're not in that realm. We're not trying to
Right.
teach that. We're not. That's
Correct.
not who we are.
Correct.
What we're letting people know is that terpenes is in so many things that people are just walking right over in your day-to-day life, and it can help you with your anxiety, with your
Yes.
depression, with your addictions. It can help you with your parenting. It can help you as an addict, as someone who is an alcoholic,
Yep.
who has many times in my life stopped drinking before, but every day in the past when I stopped drinking before, was every time I went to a store, a restaurant, every time I went into a gas station, I was instantly drawn to the alcohol. It never went away until I found this, because I understood there's terpenes in this that create what they call an entourage effect. And
Correct.
Tom will get into a little bit more of the science of it just in a second. But on the entourage effect, that's what I was able to, the best way I could describe it, I started feeling things in my heart. I started getting softer in my heart. I started feeling emotions. And they say you are what you eat. So if you eat, a lot of beef, if you eat a lot of pork, but if you eat a lot of fruit, it makes you kinder and makes you softer. And the science behind that is because there's terpenes. Now, if I eat, let's for example, if I eat this myrcene
Mhm.
that Tom is talking about,
Yep.
and I go out into the woods where we have where I live, there's a whole bunch of pines.
Yep.
Those pines have a whole bunch of terpenes themselves. I
Yes.
think they're called, I don't know the name of what are they?
Those are pinene. Correct.
See,
And
I should know this,
there are many of these terpenes that actually cross over into multiple different sources and fruits and herbs and such. There are many different pairings of fruits with other foods that increase the beneficial nature. The entourage effect, commonly used with the use of cannabis, refers to the fact that you're getting more benefit by using the whole fruit instead of just parts of it. Now, the only difference between fruits and cannabis is with fruits, you're not dealing with the CBD or the THC that tend to have the higher effects, especially the whereas CBD helps balance the THC, but the THC tends to.
unless you get the cocoa plant,
There you go.
which I have got before, or you can get dark chocolate, and it
Oh,
has,
dark
I think
chocolate.
it's a mananine or a amanine or some
It
kind,
has it has
a mananine or some
it
kind
is
of
it
thing.
is part of them. Yep.
It's called the bliss molecule.
Yes.
That's the actual,
That's what they call it.
the bliss molecule, because they knew some people like me would not be able to pronounce those other words.
Yep.
And this bliss molecule is found in dark chocolates and certain fruits. I think it's the cocoa bean, and there's small trace amounts of it.
Yep.
And these terpenes, this is the way it came to me when it first happened. The best way I can describe it is a Bluetooth. When you're dealing with when you're pairing a cell phone or a computer with another device, and our body has all these things in all these different organs, all these different layers of things. You have your bones, your muscles, you have your ligaments, you have you have all these wiring, and you have your gut stuff. And each one of those have different little codes inside of them.
Yep.
And what happens with different, and this is why I really recommend having a very broad amount of fruit.
Correct.
It is really when I go to bed, all times a day, I lay out a big entourage of fruits because you want to cross over a lot of these terpenes that Tom will get into more of the science. He has some great, I love the grape.
I was going to say those may be deeper talks at another. Actually, there's so much there that I could do plenty of smaller talks and just be specific about
he's going
single ones.
because
So
I'm not.
uh, but at the same time, when it comes to fruits, I've been seeing a lot of pushback about people saying, "Well, diabetics and sugar," and I live with a diabetic. My dad and his family were all diabetics, and yes, there are fruits you do need to be careful with, because mangoes and watermelon being two of the biggest ones. But at the same time, the big word becomes, and it's a word that's always used against addiction, is moderation. Um, there is nothing wrong with partaking in any of them. If you're diabetic, or concerned about being diabetic, you will want to lay back a little bit on those. Bananas surprised me that they were even on that list of being careful. But then you've got things like blueberries, which is almost considered one of the most perfect fruits. Can't wait for that season to start this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what you really need to keep in mind is, as far as what we really want you to understand with these terpenes and fruit in general, is you want the majority of your diet to be lighter. There's nothing wrong with partaking of meat of any kind, as long as you're okay with how it
Whole meat.
comes to get on your plate. Yes, being careful about processed food in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you're leading with fruits and vegetables as well, because there are plenty of vegetables that fit in with these terpenes and blend with a lot of these foods very well, um, you'll find that so many of the aches and complaints that you have about your daily waking life tend to start taking care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with minimal physical activity. That's the one thing I did not really get into in the last 28 days, and I probably would have seen bigger results in that department had I gotten out more, because just going to work isn't giving you the kind of physical activity, no matter how you try to work it in. But here with these terpenes, uh, we'll just basically leave it as simple as you go to your fruits and you go to your spice rack, and you're going to find just about anything. And that's the one thing, even with your
Even coffee.
yeah, absolutely.
Coffee has some terpenes in it, guys.
Even with your dried spices, you're still going to get plenty of terpene effect, especially when you pair them. And I learned some pairings of some of the foods that we've been doing, and I told you last week, pairing rosemary with blueberries. If you make a blueberry smoothie and put a little bit of rosemary in there, let it sit for about 5 minutes before you consume it, and it totally fully activates the anthocyanins that are in blueberries. And if you look into flavonoids and terpenes, anthocyanin is a word you're going to hear a lot, and that's the beauty of pretty much all terpenes are anti-inflammatory agents.
Yeah.
Any kind of swelling, any kind of tendonitis, things of that nature, tends to go to work on clearing those
Now,
up.
let me tell you how powerful this is. Little story. I was born in Denver, Colorado, and we moved to Evergreen when I was a baby for 3 years, first 3 of my years of my life. And I have postcard of it, and the whole thing is all pine trees, all pine trees. And then we moved to Pennsylvania. We moved up by Traverse City. We moved to Kalkaska. And in all those areas, I remember there's one thing I remember is these pines and the smell of them, the smell of that,
Mhm.
to the point where when I stopped drinking, I started to really notice the pines on my property. I started to really notice the pines in my woods.
And
And when I go on a walk with them, I can kind of know where all the pines are, almost like in a weird way, we're almost related in a way. And I know that sounds weird, but enough where I went and put a tattoo on me because of the terpenes.
yep.
That smell it lodges in your brain and it sends codes, literal codes. And when I was a kid going through all kinds of trauma things in my life, what happened was those terpenes were helping me in my nervous system, along with my pets and my animals, in the mountain and nature, just being in the mountains in Colorado. God knew I needed to be in that scenery. But those pines were actually helping my nervous system deal with it as a little child. So when I'm an adult, when I smell that, it brings back that. That's what terpenes do. And we think it's
Mhm.
just the reason why this is the danger. The reason why no one talks about it because right away it's instantly associated only with marijuana
Right.
when the discussion should be more with
That it's
this.
plant based. It's not just cannabis
It's
based.
in your
It's
coffee.
it's highly concentrated. It's extremely concentrated in cannabis. That's the biggest source. But yes. Now the funny thing about the pinene as you bring that up helps with respiratory function.
Hmm.
So it helps you breathe better. That aromatherapy side of it, or even if you were to apply it as a topical oil, even. Um,
Hmm.
but pinene is known to fight the THC side effect of memory loss.
Wow.
So because say some people when they get high they tend to get forgetful. The pinenes have a tendency to work against that, and honestly, the research is showing that if it's not being paired in your system with THC, it's like a couple of the other terpenes. It's also working towards your brain. There are a couple of them in particular that are known to work specifically with your brain and are strong against fighting Alzheimer's disease.
Hmm.
But also with the
Hurt.
pardon me, anti-inflammatory effects, pinene has those as well. So when you're out amongst nature, and here in West Michigan, almost all of our forests, the majority of them, the Manistee National and such, are pretty much predominantly white pines.
It's funny because, like I said, Tom and I, we've gone back, many, many years, have a lot of stories, which literally traveled the country together.
Oh yeah.
And I remember there was times where like we're right by Lake Michigan. And I remember there being out in the dunes just randomly, and here comes Tom out
Yep.
in the dunes too.
Oh yeah.
Now, why were we both out in the dunes? Now, like, well, yes, there's Lake Michigan, there's a scenery,
Getting
but
some
when you're out
activity.
there in the nature in those woods, a lot of people don't know what they're really intaking is you're getting loads of messages, like little Bluetooth codes that go into your body, and they're like activating things.
Yep.
They're activating things.
Everybody has the right now the battle between the generations is at a fever pitch, and us being Gen Xers, and such, we always get left in that we're forgotten, or now we're being blamed for everything. um, but we're that generation that we were basically told, get out in front, quit sitting on your butt and get out, go outside.
Yep.
Basically we
We
were
didn't have
outdoors.
internet.
Yep. We did not. We did not have
We
any of
didn't have
that.
cell phones.
Nope.
That came out after I was out of high school.
Yep.
I remember the internet coming out. I remember Google coming out when I was 17. And the only thing I remember is I had a girlfriend that was Googling Brad Pitt, and I got mad about it. I'm like, we're never using this crap.
My dad didn't get cable until I was in college.
That's
So,
how old we are.
yep. um, but it's one of those things where we have. I'm not gonna say that we've got a stronger connection to nature. I would say we're more a proving model how important it is to get out and get in tune with nature, and that doesn't mean go out and hug a tree. I mean, it's a good grounding effect.
I don't mind.
I
That's
mean,
something I'm gonna
go
do.
out
I like them
barefoot.
better than people most of the
Yep,
time now.
go out barefoot or just have a seat in the grass,
Hmm.
whatever. Just
Or you can
go.
touch a tree.
Yep,
Literally, the
just
transfer of touching it from the hand into that tree trunk. It does.
Yep.
It really does something to your, it grounds you like
But yep,
crazy.
you just go out and
Just
unplug.
lean against it. You look more manly that way because you lean against it. Like you hug it. It's weird. But
Well, you're wearing a necklace and you
my
got one
neighbors have
here.
seen a lot this last year. I am out in the nature, way out in the woods. Here's another thing. God's blessed us to be in West Michigan.
Yes.
What happens if you Google, fruit capitals of the world? West Michigan is
Yep.
one of them
Yep.
because we have this weird humidity that comes off Lake Michigan, and with the dunes and all the just the way it is. If you live a certain distance from the coast, we have this luscious amount of fruit. So
Oh,
like for me,
absolutely.
I'm a mile away from this blueberry farm called Reindeer's
Let's
Blueberry Farm.
let's be honest. In the summertime in West Michigan, you can look up spit and whatever way the wind blows it, you're gonna find a blueberry patch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, from the south end of Ottawa County up all the way here in Muskegon County, two of the biggest counties for it.
Yeah.
Um, Oceana County is really big for asparagus and cherries, and that runs all the way up the east coast of Lake Michigan here in West Michigan, all the way up to Traverse City.
But even in people's backyards, we
Oh
have
yes,
raspberries, blackberries, wild grapes, and all those fruits
yep.
have terpenes.
Have all of those up at my mom's. It's great in the summertime.
And so we have now on the flip side of that, for about 6 to 7 months out of the year, we have snow.
Yep.
We don't get any of that. And I will say after this last year, losing weight because I lost about 60 pounds, it was much harder to get the right fruits from the grocery stores, much
Right.
harder. And I've learned that the fruits that come from the grocery stores are not near as good, just saying,
Right. They're not.
but they're better
So
because
they're better than nothing.
they still, this is what is very interesting about our conversation. And because when I have 8 kids in my family, we have 8, my wife and I, between the two of us, we have 8 people, and we have my mom that lives with us. We can't afford just to go out and buy high expensive
No.
fruits and all of this stuff. By the way, I don't like supplements and all these. Why would we just start with the real stuff first, and if it doesn't work good, then go back down? But don't start with the fake and work your way up. That's just it's cheaper. But if you can't afford it, I buy just regular. We started just buying a lot of regular fruits with whatever, and this is what I learned. It still works.
It does.
It still worked. I was eating the pineapples, and I knew, it's funny because my daughter lives in Hawaii, so I don't think they sprayed as much, but there's still
Right.
a lot of stuff that's going on with the ground.
Mhm.
And, I know that there's stuff in it. I know that there's GMOs. I
Well,
know that there's,
the GMOs aren't so bad. That's usually just crossbreeding. It does make a number of the new breeds less effective than the heirlooms. But at the same time, the GMOs aren't as big a problem as the herbicides and pesticides that are generally used. And the current one people are concerned about is I believe it's glyphosate is how it's pronounced, and it's one of those that it gets in the ground, it affects the ground, it also affects the plants, and you can't necessarily wash it out. It tends to absorb in. So you have to be careful with that. And the truth about organics, unless you grow it yourself, you cannot trust the store-bought product because just like the standard produce, a lot of it sits in shipping containers for months on end before it's usually not brought to the stores until the end of its life,
but
at least here in the United States.
if you go in with the mindset of this, uh, fruits in themselves, we live in a world where we have chemicals in the air. I go outside, there's chemicals in that air.
We're just not
you're going to, no matter what you do, whether you're drinking water, even if it's well water, whether you're eating a perfectly, you grew that fruit yourself, it's still going to have
something.
The way our whole world, our bodies are badass. I'll say it, badass. Our bodies are something else. For the amount of abuse that I put my body through over the 47 years of my life, it's unbelievable that fruits over 1 year, not even being like, hey, I'm going to do all organic. And I know this gets a lot of people upset with this, especially in the fruitarian
Hmm.
group, because it becomes some kind of weird religion. That's why I'm not a fruitarian. I'm not a vegan. I'm nothing. I just eat a lot of fruits. That's all it is. And I've learned, I wondered like, okay, well then what is it? If it's like, if they're, I know that it's not as good as the regular before. What is it? It's terpenes.
Yeah.
You're still getting the terpenes inside of it. Your body is getting these codes. And it makes a really unique conversation because those codes still help you for one. So for lemons, for
Yep.
example, do you know if you get that lemon water, you drink that lemon water, do you know that your desire for wanting any food goes
Oh, it
away like
reduces.
that?
It reduces. I also
Especially if you add a little pistachio with it.
I do lime and lemon in my water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's both an
Oh,
appetite suppressant and an energizer. It's
oh.
it's quite impressive. Now you grabbed one of those pistachios when I mentioned food pairings,
Mm-hmm.
carrots.
Carrots.
You know, the it's being argued that the benefit how they say carrots are great for your eyes and how now it's being argued that it's not. Um, it's still a high source of antioxidants and vitamin A. Vitamin A is one of those vitamins you got to be careful. You avoid supplements because if you overdose on vitamin A, it's going to kill you. That's just all there is to it. Whereas if you're getting it through your whole foods, perfect. You pair eating raw carrots with pistachios. Vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin, which means it doesn't mean, oh, I got a little extra on me. The carrots are going to go, the vitamin A is going to go right to that. No, that's not how it works. It's got to be paired with something going straight into your digestive system. The fat in those pistachios, and it's a good fat because honestly, there are not as many bad fats out there as prevalent as we're told they are. Um, you want to be careful, read your labels, what have you. But in Whole Foods, you're not going to find a bad one. You pair those eaten pistachios with carrots, and you don't have to do it at the same time, one after the other type thing. However, you're going to absorb so much more, and it's upwards of a good 50% more of that vitamin A goes into your system like it should. Um, and again, that's also terpene related. Um, it it kind of astounding if you really think about it. You can talk about them as simple as they are, and honestly, as simple as it is just getting a nice whiff. I mean, you open up a dry package of rosemary and you get that piney smell, but instantly, same as cinnamon, it just goes straight to your brain. It just wakes you up. Um, and in a lot of ways, it also focuses. Um, but as I say, I'm definitely going to do deeper dives, but I'm going to go much further in with a lot of these. But terpenes is honestly where the medicine comes from these fruits, and the hydration you get from these fruits is even more important because literally saying that they're electrified is not an understatement. They are literally overloaded. Many of them say like blueberry crosses over so many lines of so many things that it will fulfill in your system. Um, but at the same time, getting those different the colors matter. Getting as many different colors in your system makes a big difference because different colors represent different functions as well. It's very impressive. And again, I'm not smart enough at the moment to give you any specifics off of those, but I will say when you go looking, make sure, even if you have to start simple, start simple. Start with what you know you like, and then start adding on. Don't don't feel you have to jump into the deep end right away, especially if you're not familiar with what you're getting into. Um, but fortunately, you're not going to go wrong with whatever you go with. But I mean, it's as simple as starting with bananas and apples. And frankly, I think everybody should fall in love with cutting up a fresh pineapple.
I think, if you follow us, that's the best thing you can do, and you can share this. And I'm on a lot of different platforms, and my goal is this. Right now, this is kind of my goal. 1 in 10 Americans right now get enough. There's servings of fruits and vegetables, but I'm not. I say fruits. 1 in 10 are getting enough fruits a day. That's only a cup and a half. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. That's basically eating one banana, which, that's not a lot. And so my goal is to get that number from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Because if we can get that number to 2, that's kids are going to be thinking smarter. That we're going to, over the weeks, we'll start getting into more what structured water is and how that actually helps the terpenes travel faster in your body. We'll get into more of the flavonoids and the flavonoids and all the science stuff that he, likes to say. But there's power in it. There's so much truth in it. And just knowing this stuff, we're not being taught it. Fruits are kind of one of those things that we're just kind of like jumping over, and yet it's the most important thing in my opinion that can help people transform their life. And I'm not just talking their body. I'm not talking about weight, which will happen. It will happen. But it's more for your mind, it's more for your heart. It helps your emotions. It helps you be a softer person. It helps you Steve Jobs. I've been studying a lot about Steve Jobs. I have over the last year right away, because Steve Jobs he had points in his time where he was a fruitarian. And a lot of people are like, well, he died of cancer. He was creating computers in his garage with all these mercury and chemicals and stuff like that when he was a teenager. And he got that cancer when he was really young. The fact that he was able to hold on so many years. And the only reason at the very end he finally decided to get the chemo and finally decided to drop the diet.
He beat it once, but then it came back. Yep.
And just the way he was able to use fruits in different times to create apple. Mm-hmm. There is a force out there. This is the ministry part of it for me. There is a force out there that wants us to be focused on all the bad that's happening around us, that we're so depressed, we're so discouraged that the only thing we can do is drive to a fast food restaurant on the way home, grab a 6-pack of beer, go home and bury our head into something just to get out of the noise of all what's going on out there. But they don't want us to eat this.
Yep.
If you watch the movies and you watch these people, now, if you watch them, they're eating this because they know that it gives them wisdom. But their wisdom, a lot of people's wisdom is using it for greed and bad things. And I want to get 1% more, or like 1 more out of 10 of good guys.
Taking it from 10% to 20%, that's huge.
The good guys.
That's huge.
Do you know Epstein didn't drink alcohol? Do you know Epstein ate a lot of fruits? Do you know Epstein did a lot of stuff? Now, I'm not trying to say this is what Epstein's diet was, but the dude he was using it for the bad. They know this stuff, and they keep it hidden from us. If you watch the movies, I'm a good friend with a guy who's in Hollywood. His name is Gerald. I can't say his name right, but it's like Agar or something like that. But or AJ, that's how it's pronounced in the native. But he said, I was talking to him the other night on the phone, and he said in Hollywood, they use satanic props everywhere, and they have fruit props everywhere, and they eat a lot of the stuff. And yet when us, the average person, goes out there, we're not getting it. So I'm trying to bring awareness is what I'm trying to do. So we're gonna have a lot of content like this. Tom's gonna give a lot of details. I've been looking for Tom to jump in more for a whole year because I'm not the detail guy. I'm just fired up about telling people eat fruits. Yep. Eat it a lot. Eat it in the morning. Eat it in the afternoon. Eat it at night. If you get up in the middle of the night, eat some. It's never bad for you. There is not a time that it's bad for you.
Correct. Now, the important thing to note is, as Jason points out, there's so much out in the world and out in the media that we're exposed to that is bringing us down. And the biggest reason it's bringing us down is because we feel like we're not in control. So guess what? Put your focus on what you can control. And guess what? Right, that's exactly it. What I can control is me.
That's right.
What you can control is you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of making that decision. It's your choice.
It's your choice.
Are you going to give in to what's bringing everybody down, or are you going to take a chance on yourself and start making those small decisions to make yourself a little bit better today than you were yesterday?
And dudes, don't just let the girls eat all the fruits.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? It's not just because they're colorful and pretty and all that. It shouldn't just be a girly kind of food. It's a manly food. You're supposed to be men. We need to make, fruit sexy again, man. We need to be
That's right.
masculine again. Let's be cool about it. Let's not be let all these people make it into these weird sexual innuendos. And in my opinion, it just freaking ticks me off that they use these fruits and the world twists it and put it in these weird words so that we think that they're so we don't as men want to approach it. And I'm telling you, it's time, man, that we stop letting people brainwash us and tell us what men are, because what I've watched men become is they're very confused. This is a very masculine thing to do. Very masculine thing to do. Grabbing
Absolutely.
some berries and eating that instead of a freaking cheeseburger. It's a very masculine. Let your family eat the cheeseburger. Let them eat all that stuff. That's fine. But you as the man of the house, start by getting your body right and eating this and making this masculine again.
And then you'll find that it goes well with the whole foods. If you're into a nice steak, a lot of these fruits go very well with that steak you put on the grill.
That's right.
It's your choice. It's
Your
your
choice.
The preceding video has been shared for educational entertainment purposes. While the information shared may not resonate with all viewers or listeners, those seeking to make specific improvements in their lives have found it to be useful. If you have concerns regarding medical issues, seek the counsel of a professional while doing your own research. When you are ready, a 28-day reclamation challenge is available to start making positive changes. It's your choice.